Okay, so now that I'm done fishing for views by talking about Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, let's talk about the Portland Trailblazers and how I think they could take a real jump up next season and be maybe towards the mid-tier of the Western Conference playoffs. So the big thing with them for the majority of last year was how they were really good offensively. Well, I say really good. They were decent offensively. They finished 11th in offensive rating total, which is a little deceiving based on their backcourt. But still, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are awesome together because they both can create, they both can shoot threes. McCollum shot 42% from three this year while taking about 5.5 a game, which is pretty nuts. But Lillard's 37% at nearly 8 attempts a game is also very good as well. They both can just put up points, man, and that's good. But, of course, neither one of them are strong defensive players, so you need the other guys to make up for that. And for a decent chunk of the season, they were not able to do it. But once they acquired Jusuf Nurkic, their entire team really played better. But defensively, there was a noticeable improvement. In the last 15 games of last season, Trailblazers' defensive rating was 102.9, which was 7th in the NBA. Before that, the entire story was, well, these guys can't defend. I mean, the crazy thing is they still finished 24th overall in defensive rating, so that shows you how far down they were in terms of defensive efficiency, and then Nurkic making a real impact. And the crazy thing is that I never would have classified Nurkic to be a real defensive player because he's not like super athletic, but he's kind of got that Marc Gasol ability of, he gets to the spot, man, and he's a smart defender who knows where to be, and on top of just being a big guy who can be a decent rim protector at 2 blocks a game, once he got to the Blazers, his impact was definitely felt. So that's the big one right there, is if he can really make them a quality defensive team next season, on top of what they do offensively, then these guys could be really damn good. And of course, when we're looking at some of the other guys, the big one for me is Mo Harkless. 23 years old. Defensively, the guy is quietly one of the better wings in the NBA on that side of the floor. Can defend probably shooting guards through some power forwards. I would occasionally put him on a point guard, but even then he might be a little too slow for that one. But then offensively, he was pretty okay. I mean, 10 points a game doesn't jump out at you, but 50% from the field, and some of that coming on post-ups and transition where he would go against a smaller guy. Kind of what Paul Millsap does, where he'll just quickly run to a mismatch when the defense is scrambling. You get the ball in the post, and then he can do some good things. But he also shot 35% from three. He's never been a natural shooter, so if that dips down next season, I wouldn't be surprised. But if he can just be consistent at that, or perhaps even be a little better, and he took about 2.5 a game, so that's pretty good, then he could be a really quality piece for you as someone who can attack mismatches, finish well at the rim, and shoot threes, and then everything he does defensively. I mean, that's the type of wing that everybody in the NBA is looking for nowadays. Hopefully he can just keep it up. And I mean, him and Jusuf Nurkic together, that could really help out Lillard and McCollum and their lack of defense on the backcourt. But then we got to get to Aminu, because he's the other one. Defensively, he's similar to Harkless. I believe he's taller. And he's also a guy who can defend multiple positions, mainly along the wing, and I would trust him a little bit more on power forwards than I do Harkless. But his offensive season was not very good. He shot 39% from the field. He shot 33% from three. Last year he shot 36% from outside. If he and Harkless can just be decent at threes and then do what they do defensively, that could be enough to really make the Blazers an awesome offensive team and then good enough defensively. I'm talking like maybe 5th in offensive rating and like 15th in defensive, which would make you a pretty damn good team. Of course, there's Allen Crabbe who can contribute offensively, although to be honest, after that I'm kind of searching because I'm not trusting Evan Turner to do much of anything. Ed Davis is okay around the rim. I don't even know if he's going to be back on the team, but still, their core guys I think can be pretty valuable for them. Now, in terms of salary, they're kind of screwed because Evan Turner's making $17 million next season, Myers Leonard is making $9 million, and Festus Ezeli is making 7. You're at $141 million in salary cap, which leaves you absolutely no flexibility when it comes to signing anyone. But they do have 3 first-round picks, and I think it's safe to assume they're looking to see what they can get for some of those picks. I think you could potentially attach one of those picks to maybe Evan Turner's contract and send him somewhere where the team taking him on will just be happy with the pick, and maybe they could actually find a way to use him, because I do still think Evan Turner has value. It just has to be the way that the Celtics used him, where he's the primary ball handler off the bench for about 20 to 25 minutes a game. If you ask him to play off ball, he's worthless for you. But I think you could also get some talent back for some of those picks as well. As for what that actually is, I don't know. And I think one thing this team could desperately use is a stretch 4. Someone who can be a knockdown shooter at the power forward position, who can play next to Jusuf Nurkic at times, but then also just be like someone who can play on second units with CJ McCollum, so when Lillard's out of the game, your offense can still be pretty productive. I'm also weary of there not being a real backup point guard. I mean, CJ McCollum takes over the ball handling duties sometimes when Lillard is not in the game. I think Evan Turner can do it fine, but they didn't exactly use him the right way, which is odd because I thought Terry Stotts was going to know exactly what to do with Turner, but it just didn't really happen. Shabazz Napier is like their one other point guard, but he's not that good, so maybe you use one of those picks on a stretch 4. You use one for a backup point guard. I don't know. That's just kind of the direction I would look in. Now, as far as what picks they should actually move, I don't know. I mean, they have the 15th pick in the draft, which you would assume is the one that you keep because you could get the best player out of your 3 picks. But maybe that one pick gives you like a real difference maker of a player. I don't know. You're just going to have to see what options are out there, and hopefully they go with whatever the best option is. But like I've said before, the stretch 4 and the backup point guard. But I also want to talk about how Nurkic could help them out a little bit more offensively. I should say, weirdly enough, Nurkic actually doesn't shoot that well at the basket. He only shot 55% at the rim, which is not good for a big man. But he was still good overall for them, putting up 15 points, 10 rebounds. The 3 assists a game is what I want to focus on. They used him as a passer out of the post, where they would get him the ball, and then someone would cut to the rim. That can add a lot of options for your offense, because when you already have Lillard and McCollum who can create and move off ball, which is a thing that Terry Stotts does for them, and then you have a passing big man like Nurkic, I could see them running some Golden State-style offense, where you get it to Nurkic in the post, guys start screening for each other. I mean, you could have Lillard and McCollum screen for each other and just force the defense to be like, who the hell do I cover right now? And I think that could lead you to a lot of open shots. Of course, he can also just post up himself, Nurkic. He gets to the free throw line about 2 or 3 times a game. He didn't shoot well from the line for them, only 66%. Hopefully he's just better there. But still, I think Nurkic gives you a lot of stuff that you can do. Makes you better defensively, gives you more versatility on offense. As long as your wing players are contributing offensively, you do some good things with those draft picks you got. I think Portland's in a decent position to really improve next year. But on the flip side, if Harkless as well as Aminu struggle with their 3-point shots, if Evan Turner is still playing 25 minutes a game and they don't know how to acclimate him with the rest of the talent on this team, then you might not see that much of an improvement at all. I don't know, man. I think the blueprint is there. We're just going to have to see if it actually happens.